Hello, Kimothy. How are you?
You were on CTV Morning Live this morning.
I had to get up at the crack of dawn for that
It
because
wasn't even dawn when you got up.
I was
Dawn.
tired.
But
But
congratulations. What were you talking about?
I was telling people about what we do at Tea and Toast and talking about elder care, just trying to shine some light on the industry as a whole. So I think the whole segment was like three minutes, maybe 4 minutes, but it'll be on CTV's YouTube that we can
I'm
share.
going to post a link. I'm going to post a link when we do this so that everybody can see.
It'll be good. Yeah, it was just a matter of getting more information out, which is what we do all the time, right? To make sure that people can get support when they need it and they know where to look and how to find us. So,
I
well,
was where I am now. Doesn't this look beautiful?
it's lovely.
I was talking to somebody who's from the Alzheimer's Society for Ottawa and Renfrew, and they knew you through reputation, and these are friends that you haven't met, so I was delighted about that. And you were on with Will, right?
Yeah.
This morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, a great opportunity to share with people because the podcast that we have before this one is about Dr. Saskia and about how this affects so many people. And I think it's really important work that you're doing. And I'm so proud of you. You went on television.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was
awesome.
definitely a cool experience. So,
Yeah.
a little weird having all the cameras. I much prefer this zone where it's my own camera, but it's good.
And for people that don't know, it's the same newsroom that I worked in for a very long time. So I'm very glad that you felt comfortable there.
Yeah, Kimothy had to style me and she put some good words in for me and whatnot, so it was good.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
you wore the gray dress. It's
I wore the gray dress.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
Ames, this is going to be a hard one.
I think so.
But this woman is incredibly brave. So I connected with her when she did a post about having been recently released from a psychiatric hold. And I talked to her a lot on Facebook Messenger. And oh my God, she's just amazing because um, this is something that a lot of people don't talk about is when you actually need medical care for a mental health challenge and what the hospital experience is like. My understanding is that it was not great for her. Um,
Mhm.
and she reached out to Ladies Who Lunch, which is one of our networking groups that we belong to, just saying, "Does anybody wanna have coffee with me?" Because she's looking for friends, and I reached out to her saying, "Do you wanna talk about it?" And, um, her story is very touching, multiple traumas, multiple issues, and now she's just fighting for her life, and so this is gonna be a really raw discussion about what happens when mental health gets the best of you.
I think it's gonna be really interesting. I've had a number of clients in that type of situation, not exactly like hers, but just in that environment.
Yeah,
Uh, it's a challenging environment. And I think that, one of the purposes of talking with Nikki today is to really show that, like, if things keep progressing in mental health, if you're having a mental health scenario and things keep progressing, kind of where that can end up in a hospital setting and what that looks like, and trying to take a little bit of the stigma off, but also just get information, education out there because I mean, it's similar in my world in elder care. It's like as your care and your health start to decline, a lot of people end up in senior housing, whether it's long-term care or retirement. But then most people don't know what that looks like, and so they can't plan for it. They can't put in other plans to maybe avoid it if they don't want to be there. So it's a
right.
similar type of situation. It's just the unknown. Most people have not had to deal with that type of situation.
And the thing, Amy, that I learned from talking to her is, and you know this, right? Like a 72-hour hold.
Yeah.
Like, what the are you going to solve in 72 hours? And then this person is released back into the community and then in charge of their own rehabilitation and mental health. And as you know, like, I mean, my therapist is $250 an hour, like cash. And I have every insurance under the sun. One of them we're kind of having a little fight with about the the car accident. But like, what are you going to get done in 72 hours? And that's what we're going to talk to her about is what does that look like? I have never in 30 years of being a journalist, I have never had the opportunity to speak to somebody who has been in this situation. So I am keen to learn what our healthcare system should be doing better and
Hmm.
what is the experience of people who have to go because quite honestly, and I don't know if this is the case with Nicky, but it's either that or you take your own life. Like it's really bad. So
It can be very drastic.
what happens when you admit yourself
Hmm.
on a mental health 72-hour hold?
Yeah,
Like
it can be
it's
very drastic. So I'm
very
really,
drastic.
really interested. Okay,
Yeah, me too.
let's bring Nikki in.
Okay.
Hi, Nikki. Nice to
Hi,
have
how's it going?
you.
You know, Amy, I've been talking to you about Nikki for I think a week now. So I saw a post on Facebook and Nikki Beauclair had posted something on something that we follow, Ladies Who Lunch, or one of the offshoots, I can't remember. And I was so inspired by her bravery. Welcome, Nikki, to the
Thank you.
Inner podcast.
Thank you.
What you shared blew my mind because you were very open about the fact that you had just been released from a psychiatric hold in a hospital and that you wanted to have coffee with people. So, Amy, we have coffee.
I have water today.
Oh, okay. So
I have energy drink.
we wanted to have coffee with you
Thank you.
because I was telling Amy I have never in 30 years of journalism ever talked to somebody who had your experience. So I am most interested to know what happened. How did you end up in a hospital for a psychological or psychiatric
It
you on you
meltdown.
well you worded it as burnout, but
There was both. It was the mental breakdown and burnout.
what does that look like for you?
Well, it has to do with my living conditions at the moment that caused me to actually end up in the hospital. I guess I should tell our viewers that I do suffer from um, a major depressive disorder, anxiety, and I also have two sleeping disorders. Um, where I live is I'm on a disability pension, and I live in a co-op, and part of it is low housing, and part of it is regular rentals. So I had to move. I've been here for like 14 years with this co-op, but I've had to move. Was my fourth move 2 years ago, because based on my dependents, I had to move to different apartments, whether it be a 3 bedroom or a 2 bedroom.
Okay.
So the last move was 2 years ago when my daughter moved away. So I had to downsize from the 3 bedroom to a 2 bedroom, but this time we had to go to a different building. Um, I moved in, and I had also had it requested that I need the side that has the sunlight. Because these apartments are tiny, and if I live in a black box with my mental health, might as well just send me to the Royal. They have better windows than where I would be living with the side with no sun. So there was an apartment available, so we took it. Um, it's been hell ever since this move. I have neighbors that have 3 children in a 2 bedroom. There's five of them all together. They run, they jump, they play soccer ball, they stomp. Like all hours of the day and night. School time is best, but the summers, weekends, and holidays are the worst because they're up until past midnight, 1 a.m. And these are children at 9, 6, and 2, and they're up. Like, so it's like living inside a drum. I jump every time. I've been living basically the past 2 years in my bedroom to try and get away from some of the noise because I can't enjoy my evenings, nothing like that. To get to where I was actually hospitalized is we've done everything that we're supposed to do. We've, contacted the co-op, called the police, we've called, like, you name it, we've done it with no help. There was an altercation in the stairwell. Started off with a screaming match. She did hit me on the wrist because I was holding the railing, and she hit me on the wrist. I went to my apartment, got my keys and my phone. I stood outside to, I just want to get through to this lady because every time we've tried to bang on the ceiling or anything like that, it doesn't stop. It just gets worse and worse. Like, I can understand if you've made the effort, we wouldn't be so angry. But she harasses me in the parking lot. She laughs at me. She body shames me. Um, like things like that. So I called 911 because it wasn't getting anywhere. And I don't know what made me call 911. I panicked. I just did. I didn't even have shoes on. I was in the parking lot behind her car, and I didn't know if she was going to run me over or not. So I called 911. They came pretty quick. They There's two of them. So the female officer went to her, and the male officer was with me. My boyfriend was beside me, and he was de-escalating the situation. And when I started explaining the past 2 years of what I've endured, is when I started having a panic attack. And I get them often, but this one was a really big one because my arms started to go numb,
Hmm.
and I couldn't feel up to my elbows. Like, it was going numb and my legs were getting shaky. And the officer said, "Do you want us to call 911? Or, I mean, not 911, but call you an ambulance, or you can talk to 811, which is here in Gatineau, the call hotline." And I said, "I can't afford an ambulance." And then he said, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I need to go to the hospital because I just can't take it anymore." The whole car ride, all I kept saying was, like, I'm not, I'm gonna get emotional here. I'm
It's
not
okay.
suicidal,
It's okay.
but I'm dying inside. I feel like I'm dying inside. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's no
So
way to live in your bedroom for 2 years and nothing is happening. And everyone's like, "Well, you can move." No, I can't move. Financially, I can't. There's nowhere for me to move right now. I'm sorry, I wasn't gonna break down.
I told you before this that this is a safe place. Don't worry about it in the least. It's a safe place. We want to have conversations. Amy and I want to have conversations that are real and raw, and we talk the shit out of shit, right? And you've been through some shit.
And like a piece on, what you're saying, we'll let you continue your story, but also, in Ottawa as well, the co-op housing, there's just, to your point, there's just not extra. There are many people in
Waiting list.
situations, yeah, they're waiting lists, they're in situations where there's nowhere for them to go. And so you're tr like essentially trapped in your apartment here with unreasonable neighbors and unreasonable circumstances. Tell us what happened when you got to the hospital.
They brought me in right away. I was kind of like in a hallway. They bypassed triage. Triage treated me in the hallway, and then they sent me to another section of the emergency room. I had to say goodbye to my partner. I wasn't able to see him. They took all my belongings, blocked it in a locker. I got to the hospital, it was about, I think, 8 p.m. And I take medication to go to sleep. And by about 2 a.m. of like, because I had been shaking the whole evening, I was just like, as they say, a basket case. I asked the nurse that was there if I could have my sleeping medication. He says, "Well, you haven't seen the doctor yet. We can't give it to you." So I basically stayed up the whole night till 6 a.m. until the doctor showed up to see me. And of course, like, I was so angry with him because everybody's response is, "Can you move?" Like everyone I've spoken to, therapists, doctors, family doctor, like can you move? No, I can't move. I'm not the one at fault here. Why should I have to move? Like I'm not, but that's another story.
Well, and I find that, I relate in different ways because I work in elder care, and I find that a lot of medical professionals, to their point, they don't have that information on housing in general, right? And so you keep getting asked these questions, can you move? Can you, like, all these things, and they don't have enough knowledge about what's happening outside of the
Right,
hospital. And
right.
that must be really, really frustrating. I can only imagine.
Very frustrating. And after I saw the doctor, about an hour later, I saw I think she was a student psychiatrist because I met her supervisor later on, about an hour and a half later. I saw a social worker. By 9 a.m. or so, they moved me to what I guess in the front, at the Gatineau Hospital, they call it the Santé Mentale, which is basically the mental ward. Not the extreme mental ward, but like your daytime one, is I guess was what they call it. But my experience there was not what I was expecting. For me to want to, like, to not turn myself in, but to say, okay, like, send me to the psych ward, I need help. I was hoping and expecting that I'd get help. I got no help. None. I was there for 3 nights, 4 days. I got some sleep. Caught up on some sleep. They changed my medications, but I was bored out of my mind because they took my scrunchie, they take your phone, they take your purse, your keys, like they take everything that belongs to you. I was only allowed deodorant, a toothbrush, and my clothes.
So, did you get any help in
Nope,
that 72-hour hold? Like
nope,
anything? No.
nothing. Nothing. That's what
So,
I was hoping to have some sort of therapist come in and, give me paperwork or a booklet or some sort of coping mechanisms or anything, Basically, here's our activity room. If you want to watch TV or read a book or play a game. Oh, really? I'm going to play a game by myself, me and myself and I? There's board games. Like, no,
I just want to do a little bit of a back story
track.
with, like, we get people that watch from all over the globe. So Amy and I live in Ontario, a Canadian province. You live in
Yeah,
Quebec.
no, Quebec. Yes.
Yeah. And the two systems are a little different, but we won't get into that. So what is the goal of having you on a 72-hour mental health hold? Like, what did they tell you was the goal? Was it like self-harm? Did you want to take your own life? Why were you there for 72 hours?
I was I think they were afraid that I was suicidal because I all I kept saying is I'm dying inside. But have been times over the decades that yes, I have wanted to leave, but I just never followed through because I have children, I have 3 children, I have grandchildren now. There's things I want to do that keeps me going. But the feeling of dying inside is hard to explain. It's like, why what do I have to live for? Like, I know I have a great family. I know I have, support, but it's like me, Nicky, is dying.
What does that feel like?
Hopeless. It's dark, it's scary. It's you want to do the things that bring you joy, but they don't bring you joy. And so it's hard. You have to really push yourself to do the things that used to bring you joy, because if not, you will go to that dark place. And unfortunately, it's not a good outcome.
So is it my understanding that they just parked you there for 72 hours?
Yes,
Like
they wanted me to stay longer, but I said no. I'm bored out of my tree.
yeah.
I've been on these types of floors to see clients, and I can remember the floor that I was on completely locked down, and
Yeah,
walking
I was locked
in.
down too. Then nobody could come in or out.
So completely locked down, you have to have special permission to go in. You get locked in as soon as you're in there as a visitor. And I have to tell you, when I was visiting a client at the Royal Ottawa, I visited one at the Civic as well, and it was scary. Like people have mentioned before, like, sometimes, it probably varies by the day, by the hour, by the minute. But there's a lot, when I was there was a lot of screaming. There was a lot of just like I'm empathic. And so I walk into that energy and you can just feel the chaos, even though you couldn't see the chaos, right? Like
Mhm.
it's not, people running around doing stuff, whatever, right? But there are like some vocalizations. The feeling is heavy. It's like the feeling of chaos. And,
I
it's,
was in the small ward because there's another one on the fifth floor, which I'm assuming that's more for more intense mental
yeah.
health issues. So mine was there was no screaming. There was one person, but he was transferred one of the days that I was there. Um, but it's just basically everybody's in their room doing absolutely nothing. They don't even have regular furniture. They have like Rubbermaid furniture.
I find it so what a missed opportunity to help someone who's come in and said, look, like I need help. I'm checking myself in. And they're saying, okay, you're staying for 72 hours. They've determined, okay, you need to stay. And then to not do anything to help you is mind-boggling to me.
I I don't understand. I guess I wasn't sick enough. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Isn't that something? I wasn't sick enough.
Or
So,
suicidal enough. I don't know. I really don't know because I wasn't acting out or being aggressive or temperamental. I was just a quiet little lamb in my room.
So essentially your behavior wasn't calling enough attention to you, so that you just got left.
Yeah.
And when you left, did they direct you to any resources?
No resources. I'm already following a therapist right now through the CLSC, which is a free program in Quebec.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm running out of sessions and I don't know what's going to happen after that. And I had a bit of a breakdown over a year ago in my doctor's office because of my living situation. And that's why I got to see a therapist.
so Nikki, one of the things that you and I talked about leading up to this interview, I've been very open about the fact that I was sexually assaulted when I was, I think, 8.5 years old. Um, is what you experienced kind of the calamity that ran up to this? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that,
I think it's all of the traumas that I've experienced all my life. And I've just, at 53, just finally broke, I guess, is the word. Because I do feel broken inside. I do feel broken as a person.
what does that feel like, feeling broken inside? Like what are you today as you sit here and you share your story, which is so freaking brave. What does that feel like to be broken?
Broken in a sense of, because my body's getting older. I'm already post-menopause. I've got the menopause belly. Um, my knees, I have tendonitis in one and cysts in the other. Um, my mind wants to do the things I used to do when I was younger, but my energy levels, my sleeping disorders are, that's how I feel broken. Like I want to do these things and I can't do them because my body is not to where it used to be. And I want to do also, for the mental part of it, is like I enjoy crafting and vintage journaling and things like that. But I really have to push myself to do it. Like I have to talk myself into, like, okay, you know this is good for you. You need to do this. Go sit down and do it. But it's
My understanding is that you also had childhood trauma. You sent me a photo this morning,
oh, that trauma.
which I thought was adorable.
Oh,
I thought it was adorable. Like you said you were bullied relentlessly. I was bullied relentlessly in Winnipeg, Manitoba. But that's not all the trauma you have had, right?
no.
There's
It goes as far back as, from what I can remember, is when I was 4 years old. Um, my father was an alcoholic. He used to beat my mom. I witnessed it all. At 4 years old, with some images, of your mom covered in blood sticks with you. Um, and then we moved when I think I was 4 or 5. We moved into an apartment on our own, and there was one night where he kicked one of those heavy apartment doors down, and she was going through a divorce at that time. And so, for my safety, she sent me to live in Iroquois, Ontario, with my aunt and uncle and my cousins, a boy and a girl. Um, I was sexually molested as a child. First from my cousin when I was 5, and I think I've never hasn't been medically said, but this is where I think my sleeping disorders come from, because I remember being, like, waking up on top of him. Sorry for the graphic details.
no, this is me reacting because I was the 8.5-year-old. So don't don't
And so I think that stems from my catnapping life of not being able to go into the REM sleep, a deep sleep, because of waking up on him. A year goes by. My mom comes to pick me up. I'm all excited. She has a new boyfriend, and I endured from 6 years old into 17 the same thing. 11 years plus the other one, 12 years of being molested. Um, I don't remember the frequency. That I do have I have blocked out, but I know it was that whole time.
I'm so sorry to hear this, Nikki. It's it's overwhelming for us to hear, and I just putting all those pieces together to get you to today is just you've gone through so much.
My mom did, they had my sister, and my mom did move, but it was the controlling and the abuse to my mom with that as well. He used to beat my mom too. So I've seen that with him. My mom moved out when I was 10, but I only found out years later that he had control over her because they didn't have a custody agreement for my sister, that he used to threaten to kidnap my sister. And that's how he was able to stay in the picture all those years.
so sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I'm only laughing because the system is so bent.
My mom did take him to court.
But like, what was 72 hours going to do to fix this for you? Like, it's incomprehensible to me that we do the, let's talk openly about mental health. And yet, in my very rudimentary knowledge about kids who have been sexually traumatized, um, Amy, help me here. Like, what was going to be the system that actually helped you? Because it seems so infuriating to me that you've been through all of this trauma and then they put you on a 72-hour hold and they expect you to do puzzles and sit in a room by yourself. What is that supposed to do? I don't understand.
I feel makes it worse because I just feel even more lost
I
And
think that
alone. And alone.
I
and
think
alone.
that trauma compounds in people's lives, and like a lot of the medical system, we're reactive, not proactive. And so nobody intervened the whole time that you've been alive doing all this stuff and having all this stuff happen. And because mental health, I agree, Kimothy, everybody's like pro, let's talk about
Yeah.
mental health and do it. But mental health, you can't see as well, right? You can't usually walk down a street and be like, this is like, it's not like it's got like a sandwich board of stuff that you've gone through, right? And no one has taken the time, whether it's psychologist or whomever in your life, to help you pick apart the pieces to work through each of the traumas, which would take a lifetime as well, I'm sure of
Hmm.
it. And I am just really, I'm sad to hear your story, and I'm perplexed to know that you were stuck there for seemingly no reason without any additional stuff, nothing to go home with. You know, I don't understand the healthcare system and why bother, right? As coming from it from the other angle, as taxpayers, right? Like we're not in Quebec, but like taxpayers, we're funding hospitals and, helping to do all different things, funding like CLSC or OHA that's here, but it doesn't seem like any of that's helping to actually help us as the people supposed to be receiving the services.
Hmm. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I tried getting myself committed and it didn't help.
Can we talk a little bit about, and I know our audience is going to be like, there's more trauma. It's like, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Um, for which you have not also received support. So you became a dancer
Yes.
and you were sober and not taking drugs to my knowledge,
No.
but you were doing it to basically financially support your life. And so
It
you're
was my ex's idea. Um, we had a child together and he was very controlling and abusive. Of course, I didn't see the signs because, if you grow up with it, you tend to
We
that
know.
pattern, you
Mhm.
follow it, that's what you're attracted to. So I only found out years later that he isolated me from my friends. They used to call me, but he would screen the phone calls and say, "Don't ever call here again." Um, he was financially abusive. I used to have to, give all my money when I worked at the bank. When I was on maternity leave was over. Victoria was 6 months old. And he suggested he wasn't working. He was sitting on the couch drinking, and he's like, "Well, why don't you, become a dancer?" He even gave me my stage name. Um, I went
Sorry to
by my
interrupt you, but we mean an exotic dancer. Like
exotic dancer.
you
Yes,
you were not on Broadway. Like he basically wanted you to be an
make
exotic
money.
dancer. Yeah.
Yeah, be an exotic dancer, make money because we needed it. So I said, okay, fine. So I went myself to what used to be called Fanny's on Bank Street and walked in by myself and asked how to get started. And the manager showed me the ropes and I was doing it, no problem. I was actually enjoying it because I was maybe 130 pounds at the time, and my ex was saying I was fat and ugly, whereas I've got these gentlemen saying that I'm pretty, and so it was a self-esteem boost. Um, 2 weeks later, he's like, "No, I want you to quit." What? You mean you want me to quit? I'm like, I'm making us money. Why do you want me to? I didn't think you'd go through with it. So that's when we split up. I only did the dancing for a year and I did it sober, no drugs, no nothing, because I had to wake up to a 6-month-old. So she kept me going. I enjoyed my time actually as an exotic dancer.
So do you look at your life as being compounding traumas? Like,
Yes, there's
so
more. Yeah, there's
yeah,
more.
okay. And then
But
when
it,
you finally reach out for help, you don't get it.
You don't get it. You get maybe, okay, well, we can give you 12 sessions. And then, okay, your 12 sessions are up. We can give you maybe 6 more, but it's with a different therapist now. So you're basically starting over from scratch every time you get to the point where why bother? I have to start over from scratch with the same story and I'm not getting anywhere.
Right.
that's really frustrating. I've had to do that even when I have told different friends things that have gone on and I have to like restart the story. I run out of gas. Like if you're in my life and you don't know what's happening in my life at the moment, I'm not going to catch you up. So I can only imagine. I mean, I've flipped psychologists as well. I've chosen to flip them.
But
But
this isn't even a psychologist. These are just therapists. I don't have
mm,
true support. And that's because financially I can't afford it.
it's wild.
I don't even know what to say because again, we say that as a nation, we, support mental health, right? Like, you know, let's talk about it. Well, like talking is bullshit, right? We actually need to do something. And
Mhm.
if we are not funding the programs that help people get back on their feet. So, like, I'll just ask you, like, if you had your dream world, Nikki, what did you need? What would have made this a substantial experience for you after being hospitalized for a mental health issue?
Some tools to go home with, whether it be a workbook or
Yeah.
um I- I'm a paper kind of girl and a hands-on, so like give me a workbook to read through give me some links and some um places where I can go to like support groups or things like that. But that would have been my medical kind of yay.
I mean, Kimothy, we were talking to Dr. Saskia last episode, and we were talking about very similar things because we were talking about dementia and how, again, it's mental health. So it's hard to diagnose stuff. It's hard to like recognize it and whatnot. And the community that's around that, much like what you're saying, the community that's around the mental health there like it seems like we're not even doing the basic things. And I mean, that's probably why in my business I throw out as much education as possible because for caregivers, I want them to have it because in the caregiving world, it's similar. There's not a lot of resources, and I feel like you're literally asking for the bare minimum. Like you literally are
Oh,
like, give me a workbook and some links to follow so that I can find
right.
something on my own, which is
Yep.
like bottom barrel of necessity. Like you're not even asking for like, give me inpatient, give me psychologist, give me like, you're not even asking for any of that stuff. And I'm thinking like, if we can't even do that properly, if we can't even have some sort of standardized, here is, some direction, because most people are advocating for themselves. Again, we were talking about that on a previous podcast. We're advocating for ourselves. We have to look through and we're expecting people that are on the brink of burnout, that are considering very, very serious things such as taking their lives. We're considering people who have dementia who can't think straight, all of these different things. We're expecting these people to be able to navigate and find their own stuff when the
Right.
medical community as a whole has this effing thing, these effing things. They have them. They just aren't
It's
giving.
exhausting mentally some days to just even have a shower. So having to look for these resources, it's it's just too much. And we just break down. And for me, I just go and lay in bed and mindlessly scroll Facebook.
I think it's also that the medical community, again, I can relate it to what I do. They have just no experience with this. They treat it, whatever that means at this point.
Medication.
They treat it, right? They've went through school. It's like when we talk about nutrition, right? Like a lot of physicians have no nutrition training, right? So they treat it, okay, well, it looks like this, we'll medicate this way or whatever, but they don't have an experience, like a core experience to be able to be like, "Oh yeah, my mom went through this and this is how she handled it and this isn't good enough." It's like the seniors I work for and with for senior housing. Like when I talk about government, it's like they don't have enough experience to be like, we've had family members in this situation and I've had to deal with it. And
Hmm.
so we have all these people making rules, giving out and doling out medications and doing not a lot in this field. They're the ones we're coming to for help and they're the ones dropping the ball.
Yeah.
One of the things, Nikki, that I found most brave and how we ended up in conversation was you put out very publicly on a very large social media group that we belong to on Facebook that if anybody wants to have coffee with you, um,
I
I
have
don't,
no
I don't know how
unlimited
many,
girlfriends.
I don't
I
know.
got some responses. I just have to get back to them. But
Okay.
like now it's me who's been isolating myself, not my exes, like not my ex-husband or my first ex, because but it's me, and so I feel that I have no girlfriends, no one to go to do things, and
I think
that's what I'm searching for.
And I thought that was so brave because after the car accident, there were weeks that I didn't have a shower and that I stayed in bed and that I stayed in my little tiny apartment because I thought that, my life was over. And what struck me was the bullshittery of the fact that we care about mental health, this is a priority for this country. And there was one point where I was shocked that I was still alive, quite honestly. And I've been very open about that. And so let me congratulate you on still being alive, but I think that what you've been very brave about is showing that this is what it looks like, boots on the ground, right? Like this is what it looks like, is that if you do not get the help that you need and that we say as a country we support, and then you don't even leave with a workbook, like I can't say enough how much I salute your bravery in coming forward. And as you know, I travel a lot, so I don't know if I can meet you for a coffee, but this was the best that I could do. And
I appreciate it. Thank you.
you were really nervous about it. And can you talk to us about why you were nervous about talking about mental health?
Um, because there still is so much stigmatism
Right?
to it. Like there's so much judgment about it. Even with my ex-husband, he knew about my medical, because it started with, I'm sure it started when I was a child, but I was officially diagnosed with postpartum depression with my first child in 91. And with my ex-husband, he never wanted to come to the doctors. I didn't want to look at any of my pamphlets. I was told, it's all in my head. Snap the fuck out of it. Stop being a lazy bitch. Do something with your fucking life. Sorry for my language, but that's what I,
No, we're big fans of swearing here. Big fans.
but
Okay,
that's what I
Yeah.
had the mental abuse with that. And I was compared to, I mean, I should have left him when I had the first red flag, which was I figured out he had an affair with one of my bridesmaids 2 weeks after we were married.
but to be honest, you say you should have, but you have been conditioned for this all of your life. It's
Yeah.
easy to say, oh, I should have done this or whatnot until it's built into who you are.
Yeah,
And
and
the
I
fact
was
that,
also told by him to, oh, I don't need the medications. And then you hear that so much that you self-medicate and you wean yourself off the medications. And that's not a good place to be. It's scary. My hair was falling out. I had sores. I still get sores from the mental health, from the stress and anxiety and stuff. But
You
yeah.
know, one of the things, Nikki, is that I think that there is this idea out there that in terms of not like, let's listen in terms of what we need to do, is that there is a possibility of providing support to people who want to be productive citizens, but the tools are not there. What kind of tools do you think we need to give to people who want to be productive, happy citizens? Like, what is it that you think that you would need?
For me personally, I think that anyone who is on a disability pension for whatever illness that they have should have free resources for that illness, or for my sake, the mental health. Like I do want to go to therapy. I do want to go into like these support groups or these or buy, you see online, I have these workbooks or whatever. I do want to do those things, but financially I can't. I live on $1,000 and $1,074. That's what I get from my pension a month. One
Sorry,
thousand
at 1,000
$1,074
a month.
a month for
And that
my
has to pay
disability pay.
for rent and food.
Yeah, and everything else.
Wow.
And
So
that's why we fall through the cracks, because we can't afford the therapy that we want or need. So my, perfect bubble world would be anyone on a disability pension should be able to have free resources for these situations.
do you want to work?
I do work 1 day a week, um, but I find it exhausting. I only do 3 4 hour shifts. Um, but I've been mostly a stay-at-home mom most of my life. But I do.
I ask you that because there's this bias, I think, out there that people who are on disability are just faking it, or they're just like,
No, I do want to, but mentally and physically, I can't. I like, even when I was in my like 20s, when I used to work at a bank and I wasn't properly medicated, I would work 2 days, be off 3 days, calling in sick, because my body just shuts down, my brain shuts down. And of course, I lost my job because I wasn't reliable.
so that's
So
the connection between the mind body relationship, right? I'm
yeah,
sorry, that's a question because I don't necessarily understand it. So that's the connection between your brain just does not want to participate.
your brain shuts down, but your body shuts down. People don't realize that Depression and other mental health illnesses are physical as well. Like I said, my hair at one point when I was getting sicker would fall out. The stress the past 2 years, my hair was falling out. I had to get 4 inches cut off my hair because it's been falling out in clumps. Like it's not just your mind being tired or lost. Your body feels it too.
I mean,
I
that's what
can relate to that because Amy, I don't know if you know this because this was 3 years ago, but after the car accident, my hair was falling out. I know that's hard for people to believe because I have a lot of it, but it was falling out in clumps. And the hairdresser that I've had since my TV days, we had a conversation about what to do about this because the stress was just like it was just falling out in fistfuls because of
Mhm.
stress. And that
Right.
was just, and I say just because I just got hit by a car. What you have been through is far more substantial. But yeah, when I go through stress periods, all of this stuff starts falling out. And it's a very real body reaction
Mhm.
to mental
My
health.
eczema flares up and I get, like I showed earlier, the sores on my arms and my body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had my hair falling out for years because of stress and anxiety. The other thing that I've been dealing with is like pure fatigue, which is like one of those things, again, that nobody can see. It just more, I often wonder if my husband like, I know he doesn't, but I wonder if my husband just thinks I'm being lazy because it's like I just don't have it. Like you're just fatigued
When
and
you have two sleeping disorders, people don't understand. Well, we mean sleeping disorders. Well, at night, I don't hit the REM sleep. So I don't get the dream, the repair sleep that our body needs. And
yeah,
because of that, I have what's called excessive daytime sleepiness disorder.
yeah.
And I have two crashes a day where 11 and 3, if I don't take my medication, it feels like I've been up for 24 hours. I'm exhausted, like I'm burnt. Like I feel like a new mom, like just like
Yeah.
everything is just
All the
exhaustion.
stuff, all the stuff people can't see.
Yeah.
Well, Nikki, this has been very eye-opening. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to Kim and I. We really appreciate
Welcome.
it.
Thank you.
It is a tough subject, and I know that this episode of our podcast will help a lot of people. I think it's really important to shed light on all those dark corners, and the only way we can shed light is by talking about it and making it real for people. And I
Hmm.
do hope that you can find some of those resources and get things a little bit more on track. And I hope that your living situation does improve soon because I can only
Thank you.
imagine, as someone who doesn't like other people and wants her own space all the time, I can only imagine what that's
She
like.
likes me. She likes me.
Kim and the dogs, I
He
don't know.
loves you.
Likes me and Buddy. And Buddy.
But thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
This was very brave, Nikki, and I know that we talked a lot about it in the last week, and you were nervous about it. And I gotta say, you were a rock star on this. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Rock
So for
star.
all of our viewers, I hope that this has helped shed some light. Please make sure to subscribe and like and notify on YouTube. And until we see you next time on the Inner Shift.